Adequate notice of this meeting of the Mayor and Council was sent to the Asbury Park Press and the Co-Star of the official newspapers of the Borough of Belmar on December 13, 2023, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan? Here. Councilwoman Kinney? Here. Mayor Buckapusco?
Here.
Councilwoman Rondinero? Here. And Councilman Levis is absent.
Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops, their families, and our first responders. Thank you.
Workshop. I have a few things I'd like to just go over with the council. Obviously, as I think all the council people know, we received a grant from the Department of Community Affairs for improvement of our boardwalk, the Boardwalk Preservation Fund, and it was in the amount of approximately $1.5 million, which was not expected, but it was something that we figured we would put in for. It's a new program. I think it's a one-shot deal at this point. So we were pleasantly surprised when we got that grant, when I was notified by the commissioner. Just to give you a little idea of what's up in the future, what we have to do is we actually, by March 15th, the borough needs to provide them with another revised budget and an addendum, more paperwork that we have to do to give in. And then they're going to have a kickoff meeting at some point, which they haven't told us about yet. So our borough engineer and our grant consultants will obviously be taking on that role to provide them with whatever it is they need to perfect our grant. One of the things I wanted to point out, which obviously wasn't apparent from the grant, was that we actually asked for a total of $5.27 million for that grant, because we pretty much had a wish list, and not knowing how much they would award to us, but knowing that the big number was $100 million, we figured why not? Let's just ask for everything we thought we could use to improve our boardwalk. So there were three areas, as you noted if you read my comments. One was for a new bathroom facility, which would have around 15th or 16th Avenue, which we thought would have been something nice to do, another permanent facility. The second thing was to bring our trailers or restroom trailers up to DEP standards in terms of their support. So we were looking at taking away the concrete slabs, which were the issue that the DEP had with us about them not being permanent. And our borough engineer came up with a plan of putting in, pilings and building a support on the pilings, and then installing the restrooms on those pilings, which would have required a little more work on the boardwalk itself, because right now the trailers sit on the ground and they're level with the boardwalk. If we raise them up, then there has to be some modification to the boardwalk, ADA compliance and all that, to get them to get people into those restrooms. So that was another area, and the third area were the deck repairs. And that is a situation we were made known of actually as we were doing this. There's a center beam that goes down the entire boardwalk, because and it supports the herringbone pattern, and what's happening there is some of that is starting to decay. I think that's the right word. I don't know, Billy, you brought that to our attention. So our engineer again spec'd what it would take to do that. So we had three projects. Just to give you round numbers, the new bathroom facility was at like 1.28 million. The support structures for the 4 trailers was 1.7 million, and the deck repairs were 2.2 million. So obviously, 1.5 million, we can't do all that. So the next step will be for us to go back and, sit with the engineers and figure out what it is that we really want to do. And obviously, once that happens, we will advise the council and the public and come up with a plan on how we're going to do that. This probably is going to be a multi-year plan, but I think we have a great start at doing this because we got that extra money. Because we really do need to do something with the trailers that we keep rolling in and out every year. And that was one of my goals when we first got on board here, because that was one of the first issues that we had, was the DEP not really being satisfied with the way that we were handling that. So I look forward to working with the engineers, Mr. Kane, and also our grant consultants to see if we can get any other money to start working on those projects. So I just wanted the council to know, we're not doing all those things in 1 year because we don't have the funds to do that, and unfortunately we didn't get $20 million like Asbury Park did. But we tried. Okay, and as I said, we need to prioritize our projects to figure out what we're going to do in the future.
I just want to thank you, Mayor Buckafosco and Kevin Kane, for all your hard work in getting these grants to happen for us to move Belmar forward. Our administration, we've been in office for 14 months, and so far we've been awarded $2.2 million in grants. So thank you so much. I'm really proud of all that we've been able to accomplish together.
Well, thank you. We have a good team, and we try to get as much as we can from wherever we can. The next item on the agenda is something that came out of our planning board actually last night. There was a subcommittee that did some work on signage throughout the borough and some of the issues that we're having. And I'm just going to point out 2 things that I think the council really should take a look at. And it really goes under the area of the fact that we have ordinances pertaining to signs, 2 in particular, that really are not enforced. So we need to, I think, look at that and see if we want to keep it as is or change them. The first area that we need to look at are the flutter flags and banners. Okay, according to our ordinances, that they are not permissible. Yet, when you drive around town, you'll see flutter flags and banners. So I think our issue is, and we don't, obviously we're not deciding that tonight, but I mean, it's for further discussion. Do we ban them completely? Do we just permit them? Or do we create a situation where perhaps we do it on a specialized basis, like have an exception? Like if you're having a grand opening, you can put in for a request to put some flutter signs out for a period of time, whether it's a week or just a couple of days. Or same thing with banners. If there's some special event that a business is having, they would have to come in and perhaps seek permission to put up a flutter flag or a banner. Because I think the complaint is generally that sometimes when they go up, they never come down. And then they start to look ratty, and they rip, and it's a situation where I think we need to just lay it out clearly so that businesses know what is and what is not permissible. So that's the first area. The second one, kind of similar, is painting signs on the sides of buildings. We have that in a few areas in town, and again, according to our ordinances, that's not permitted. So we should think about how we want to handle that in the future. Do we just want to, again, keep it as something that's not permitted, or is it a situation where perhaps we could permit it with some review of what the sign is going to look like so that we know that it's appropriate? So And there are a few other issues, but I mean, those are the two main issues that I think we would have to look at the present time. So, you know, I can give you the sites for the ordinances. I can send them, or I'll have April send them out to you. And then perhaps at the next meeting, we can have a discussion about what it is we want to do as far as those two things go. The other two areas were just to let you know, with temporary signs like the lawn signs. I mean, we already have rules on you know, political signs and real estate signs. I mean, those are pretty much followed. But then there are just general signs. People put signs on their lawns, contractors put signs on the lawns. You know, a new roof is going up, and you see a sign that says the roof is installed by so-and-so. You know, is that something that's supposed to be permitted? Is it not permitted? If it is, how long should the sign stay there? And we have signs like, you know, take down the Verizon towers. I'm just kidding. But, you know, that's an example of, you know, temporary signs that you know, we should deal with. And the same thing with contractor signs. You know, how long do they keep up a sign after they finish a house? You know, and then they put the sign, this was built by so-and-so, or the roof was done by so-and-so. And then a general area of, you know, signs in residential areas. You know, should we permit signs in a residential area? My thought on that, just off the top of my head, was, well, in the situation of professionals like lawyers and doctors and dentists and accountants, maybe we need to, you know, let up a little bit and let them have signs. So again, we need to look at the ordinances to see what is and what is not allowed, and then I think give the planning board some direction as to how we think it should go. Okay, so a little homework for us to do for the next meeting. The next thing I want to talk about was, at the last meeting, there was a question about the 1200 Main property, and we do have an update, which is actually from the end of January, from our LSRP, which is Gibson and Stottle. And you know, there's a lot in their report, but the basic conclusion is that there is more work to be done. And just to let you know, talking about the history here, they said, you know, this has gone through a number of phases, and even though the second phase of this operation was completed, they say here that, you know, soil and groundwater contamination remain present at the site. So they have given us a proposal to assist us in completing whatever required environmental remediation is necessary at the site. And I'm not going to go through the whole, you know, all of the different aspects of it, but it basically boils down to, they suggest that we put 3 permanent groundwater monitoring wells on the site, and then some temporary wells, 4 temporary wells to check to see if the groundwater basically coming off of the site. And you know, I think based on what they're saying here, that is something that we need to do. We have a proposal for them. We haven't yet approved that proposal, but I think we'll be working on that in the days to come. And so there is still work that needs to be done per the LSRP, and I just thought I would let everyone know that, you know, we're working on it. We want to get it done as soon as possible, and hopefully we'll have, you know, further updates in the near future. That's that. And
Mayor, is it right that our engineers are looking at that property to do an assessment as well at this point?
Yeah, because one of the things we had spoken about or came out at the last meeting is we don't know what the interior of the building has in it, if there are any hazards. We suspect there might be asbestos in the building. By itself, that doesn't necessarily mean it's contaminated. If the asbestos is not friable, it's perfectly safe, but if it is, then it's not. I will note that I don't ever remember seeing, prior to the building being purchased, if there was an inspection on the inside of the building. for us who buy homes. We always do home inspections. And I don't recall seeing that, because that would have told us if there were, what the condition of the inside was, but we'll deal with that. And like you said, I think our borough engineer is going to be looking at that and giving us an opinion on what we should do with the property at that point.
Mayor, is that proposal something you can share with us?
Yeah, I can.
Great, thank you.
It's a number of pages, and it has charts and all kinds of good stuff.
So, because they're just, they're just monitoring what, the direction of the plume of water, the groundwater, if it's still contaminated, like what exactly?
Yeah, well, I from my non-engineering, non-environmental background, what it seems to me is they're doing both. They have areas where they try to determine if there are, volatile compounds or whatever in the ground, and they keep testing those, and a few of them are okay, maybe a third one is not okay, and that's usually right on the property itself. But then they want to, the temporary ones, they want to go a little further to make sure that see what the levels are further away, because if there's groundwater spreading, in my mind, what's happening is that any contaminants are spreading with it. So that's why it's important for us to try to find out what the extent of the groundwater contamination is, and then ultimately, when we get a report from our borough engineer, it would behoove us to remove most of that contaminated soil as soon as possible, because that will, it's like a sponge, and as long as the sponge is there and you're pressing on it, the water is still going to seep out. So if we can get rid of some of that contaminated soil, or all of it, then that will alleviate the groundwater vapors.
Right, because that was my concern too, like, I feel like, why are we waiting? Like,
Yeah.
let's just clean it up as soon as we can, so it doesn't continue to spread and spread and spread. There's a school across the street, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no,
that's
you're
my
right.
concern.
Any other questions on that? And the last thing was, I know there was a question at the last meeting about affordable housing and redevelopment and what we can let the public know about that. And I just wanted to let everyone know that we have tentatively scheduled at our March 26th meeting, I think it is April, we're going to be having a presentation by our redevelopment attorneys, as we had a couple of meetings ago. So at that point, if you're interested and you want to know what's going on and ask questions, that would be the meeting to make sure you attend. They'll be here and they'll let us all know where we're at. Okay. Any other workshop issues? And we have to do our presentation for our trap, neuter, and release program. And I have Chief Goldfarb here from the Monmouth County SPCA, who's going to give us that little presentation.
Actually, I'm just going to introduce the presentation, Mayor. But thank you and good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Goldfarb. I'm the Chief of Humane Law Enforcement for Monmouth County. My main job is to oversee and enforce the animal cruelty regulations in the county and present the cases to court for adjudication. I also get to oversee the animal control services that we provide to most of the towns in Monmouth County, including the privilege of doing it for Belmar for the past 5-6 years. But what we're here to really discuss tonight and pinpoint is our trap, neuter, and release program, or the trap, neuter, and return program, which we feel is the best way of dealing with your feral or community stray cat situation. And with me tonight I have Corinne Hens, who's our TNR coordinator for the Monmouth County SPCA, Scott Crawford, who's our animal control manager, and Shannon Martiak, who's our newest humane law enforcement officer. Scott Crawford is going to talk to you about the TNR program itself. If you have any questions, all of us will be here to answer the questions right afterwards. And moving forward, we'd like to talk to you about some possible ordinances that you can put in place that could also help with any stray cat population problem that you're having. So thanks for having us here tonight, and I'm going to introduce Scott Crawford.
Hello, Mayor and Council. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having us here tonight. First, I'd like to start by saying thank you to the Mayor and Council. You guys should be commended for adopting the TNR MOU program in Belmar in addition to our standard animal control contract. Secondly, I'd like to say normally County Commissioner Ross LaCitra would be here doing these things, so I'm going to put on one of his hats today and try to fill those very big shoes while I get through this quick presentation for everybody. So each year we have over 1,000 cats and kittens that come through our TNR program in the now 21 municipalities that are contracted with the Monmouth County SPCA for TNR services. Our TNR program allows us to spay, neuter, rabies, vaccinate, ear tip, and microchip feral cats for free to the residents in the borough. The cost of the surgery being $75, which is a shared burden between the municipality here in Belmar and the Monmouth County SPCA. The issue of stray cats within our state is a massive one. We know that female cats who remain unspayed and outdoors can reproduce 2, sometimes 3 litters a year, averaging 4 kittens per litter, allowing room for tens of thousands of cats to be born if there is not early intervention. The TNR program, when done consistently over time, allows us the opportunity to effectively stabilize and reduce feral cat populations. A few specifics to our program. Our TNR program has a structure to ensure that cats are not only being trapped and coming in on days and during the times that we have medical staff available for surgery. Every cat being trapped has to be scheduled with our TNR coordinator, Corinne. While animal control can always be contacted for help with stray, sick, injured animals, they cannot pick up healthy, trapped, stray cats. So by adding this to the addition of your basic animal control contract, it really empowers us to do more within the municipality. Cats are typically brought to the Monmouth County SPCA in the morning, receiving surgery that day, and are released back into the municipality the following day. Our medical director and medical teams clear releasing within 24 to 36 hours after their surgery, and obviously weather permitting. Under some extenuating circumstances, we may hold cats for longer, but that will be decided on a case-by-case basis with our staff at the SPCA. The SPCA has completed medical and behavioral complete medical and behavioral oversight over the stray cats coming in through our program. If we feel a cat is friendly and can be placed for adoption, the shelter reserves the right to surrender it to ourselves and do so. If in the rare instances medical euthanasia is deemed necessary, that would also be at the discretion of our medical staff. For those who are feeding feral colony cats, we have a colony caretaker program that allows residents to sign on with Belmar and the Monmouth County SPCA to continue to feed without fear of repercussion. With that being said, there are restrictions in place to limit the times that food is left out to make sure the caretakers keep their property and surrounding areas within those neighborhoods clean. We often rely on the help of residents, especially those who have taken the responsibility of feeding, to help with the trapping process. When we can, we do have volunteers in various municipalities that we're contracted with who can come help set and monitor these traps. Additionally, when we can, we may be able to loan out traps, but please keep in mind our traps are often being rotated amongst residents, and we may not always have traps available for residents to borrow from us. If anyone's interested in volunteering to help with our TNR program, we have information available, as well as those who are interested in becoming registered colony caretakers. I believe Corinne's going to leave some paperwork in her cards here today. I don't want to drag this on forever, but in closing, this isn't a silver bullet to the cat problem in New Jersey, or Monmouth County specifically, but it's a huge step in the right direction. The towns that we've been doing this in for a few years now, we're noticing less cats on the street, less being impounded into our shelter, and that shows that the population is going down in the way that it needs to happen. So if you have any questions, Corinne will help answer a few of those now. Otherwise, that's pretty much the presentation in a nutshell. So thank you.
Thank you. I just had a question about, so when they are trapped, they're also vaccinated, so they're vaccinated against rabies as well?
Yeah, we do the rabies vaccine. It's the only vaccine that we do. The distemper vaccine we do not do per our medical team. That is a series, so it's not something that we can just do that day. So we only do the rabies vaccine, which is really the most important one for them to have.
That's wonderful. So then they can't spread that infection
Yes, exactly.
to other cats, animals, and even our pets.
Yes, yes.
And the studies have shown that those rabies vaccines will usually last the entire lifetime of that stray or feral cat.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any questions from the public? We can.
How old does the cat have to be to trap it?
I
I mean, we'll trap the kittens when they're, 8 weeks is usually when they're weaned, and no longer nursing. So we can trap them early and we'll do the surgery at 8 weeks or at 2 pounds. Obviously that young, our hope would be to get them adopted, but if we can't, we would just TNR them and release them back.
When you say release them back to the
They're
municipality,
released back to the property in which they were trapped. So we don't provide any kind of relocation ever for a nuisance wildlife.
I want to ask the opposite question. Is it
Yeah.
released to the person who submitted the cat?
So there are scenarios in which if it was you, for instance, who had trapped a cat, there are scenarios where sometimes someone will meet me at the shelter. You're welcome to take the cat back and bring it back home, or we'll do the releasing.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
I guess my question is, so how, as a municipality, how do we start this program? What would the next steps be?
I mean, the best thing is usually once we have meetings like this is I'll leave my information, and anyone who is interested, if it's something you guys want to post on the website, if someone wants to either call or email, it's usually best, and I can reach out to that resident directly, figure out how many cats, exactly what the situation is, and then figure out, a time frame for us to get started.
Will there be data collected for,
Yes.
for Belmar specific?
Yeah, so once a month I can send you a spreadsheet of the cats and the kittens that have come in through the program.
So it sounds like it really is the type of thing where we're looking for residents to call and...
It's definitely important for residents, if they feel like they are seeing stray cats, just to contact us so we can navigate how many cats there are they someone's pets, are they already ear-tipped, how old are they? It really winds up being a case-by-case basis, but we could certainly, talk to everyone individually and then move forward in the best way to help them.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
We always do this.
Come on up.
Sandy Caputo, Surf Avenue. Thank you so much to all of you for coming and giving us the presentation. Thank you to the administration for doing the work to get us signed up on this. Are we signed up now?
I'm not sure what signed up. I think there was something we had to...
A resolution? What do we do?
No, not yet. It's still in the presentation stage because we had the one person come up at a council meeting and said that there was an issue. So we reached out to the SPCA. Russell Citra came in and met with us, and then this was the public presentation. The key to it is, as they noted, is to have, if somebody has a colony of stray cats, they need to become a colony caretaker and go through the paperwork and document everything and work directly with the SPCA. So what we're going to do is the information that Corinne talked about, we'll take that and then work towards the next steps.
Okay. I think our end of it is the agreement that we will fund the, whatever it is, the 50% for the thing, and we're on board to do that.
If Ross hasn't already, we'll make sure you get the memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
This way that can be signed between both of us.
Okay, so do residents have to wait until we have that memorandum signed? Okay. All right, so hopefully by the next meeting, we'll tell you that it's been signed, and then the program can move forward with making calls and whatnot.
Administrator can reach out to me or to Russell Citra anytime. We'll get it moving.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. May I suggest something? When you get a feral cat and you tip the ear, do it good. Because sometimes
I will let them know.
the cats...
They don't let us do it.
Yeah. The cat will not be 2 feet from me and stay still so that I can get a good look at it. But you do such great work. I'm sorry, Corinne, I didn't mean to displace you from the microphone. We're used to stepping up here.
That's fine, that's fine. Does anyone else want to ask any questions? Let's go with Mr. Creamer, and then...
Yeah. I'm just looking for a recommendation because a couple of meetings back, the question was asked. As far as the SPCA, I'd like to know what their opinion is of licensing of cats. The borough used to license cats and then didn't license cats. And I believe that Lake Como still licenses cats. Is there any benefit or detriment?
No, just pass it. Yeah.
Our opinion is it's a matter of choice for the borough. It's very difficult for us to enforce that unless we pick the cat up for another reason. We're not going to go to door and enforce that ordinance. We just don't have the people or the time to do it. Usually the ordinance, as far as cats go, is that we like to see is one that limits the total number of cats allowed per household. And also an outdoor feeding ordinance, unless you're part of a colony caretaker situation, there should not be outdoor feeding allowed because it attracts other nuisance wildlife. That's an individual town-by-town issue. If we pick up a cat and it's a stray and the owner comes back to pick it up, they'll be told to license the cat if you decide to do a cat licensing ordinance. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, and thank you. I don't know whether many people here have lived in a multi-family dwelling, and I did at one time, and believe me, it got down to the police level. You know, people would let the cat into a common hallway, and it was difficult, and actually people couldn't get to sleep to go to work in the morning, and it became quite the job for the Belmar Police Department. I'm going back a number of years, but I think we have to give some consideration to that because we have so many multi-family dwellings going up now. We don't all live in a private residence where we have control of the doors and everything in the house. That's all.
Okay.
Just a quick question.
Speak up, Mo.
Just a quick question. I believe one of the gentlemen said something that New Jersey has a big feral cat population. Is this a huge problem in Belmar? Or anybody have any sort of sense of it? Or is that what you're going to start doing to sort of?
I wouldn't say it's a huge problem in Belmar. I mean, we are in Lake Como, the Lake Como section a lot, doing trapping and return. So, you know, the idea is to prevent it from growing out of proportion to what it is now.
Okay, thank you very much.
We might be doing this at the right time before it becomes a huge problem. So. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Is there somebody you'd like Corinne to leave
Yeah, I
for
can
you
leave
guys
this.
for
I'm
now?
just going to leave some.
Well, there's that. Good to see you again. Have a good evening, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Put on the website. Okay. We can post them, perhaps maybe in our E360 area, so everybody can have them. They don't have to come in for a paper copy. Okay, next, petitions. Do we have any petitions from the public?
No, we did not receive any.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 27th meeting, or February 13th meeting?
Make motion.
Second. Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafosco?
Yes.
Councilman Rodenaro?
Yes.
The reports of council. Councilwoman Dunham.
Thank you.
The Environmental Commission has been very, very busy. We haven't actually met officially since our last council meeting, but we've been down at Silver Lake quite a bit. I'm pleased to report, because we've been tracking, that we've seen a pretty dramatic decrease in the geese population. I can tell you that I've had one of the lasers for the last week or so, and much to my chagrin, I have not actually been able to use it because there haven't been any geese at dusk or dawn. We were listening to residents who were concerned about the geese during the day, and so we've actually started using a drone to scare them off quite successfully. So that's just been one of our residents, our volunteer Ed Lippincott, who's been doing that. We have some cool videos that we may post on the Environmental Commission's Facebook page, which you should all follow. I would also just wanted to take this moment to thank our volunteers who've been doing this work, particularly Ed Lippincott and Colleen Sullivan. Everyone's been working really hard. We're still only in phase 1 of this. DPW actually was just out there. They cleared those Phragmites from the island, which is great because it's allowed us to get to the geese who are trying to hide there. The next phase will start in early April, where we'll go and try and prevent eggs from hatching. So we're only in phase 1, but I mean, we were seeing reports of over 100 geese in a single day, and I think the largest number we've seen now has been between 15 and 20 at one time. So that's pretty dramatic. I've also had a lot of people who have been asking me, who have been interested in helping out with this process and with the overall project of beautifying Silver Lake. In general, if you're interested in that, we would love to have you. The next Environmental Commission meeting is March 14th. So please come on out. The Silver Lake team has been meeting. We've been exploring a lot of grants. We're meeting with some of the experts over at Monmouth to talk about more grants and exploring the possibility of maybe starting a C3 for fundraising purposes. Harbor Commission. We are interested in doing a little bit of market research to explore the trends over time between open and charter boats, and in general still seeking a solution to the pilings. We were lucky enough to have Mr. Milgio come to our last meeting to discuss changes in the language to make it more clear how we're differentiating between types of boats so that our staff down there can more easily control any wayward captains. Verizon. The Verizon update. So 2 weeks ago, we're still waiting to hear back. We're waiting to hear back from Congressman Smith's office about potentially meeting. We have about 8 representatives from different towns here on the shore who are interested. It is taking a little time, but they did tell me that, get this right, with 2 counties, 40 towns, and more than 750,000 constituents, sometimes it takes a bit, but we're optimistic. That's it.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kinney.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, around Parks and Recreation, Junior Guard signups are happening now. Summer camp signups will begin March 14th. This is a sells out kind of quick, so if you need or know someone who wants to be on summer camp, please see the Recreation website for further information about that, but March 14th is the key date for summer camp. Tennis lessons, running club, and summer basketball signups are coming soon. Check the borough website for those updates. If any Belmar senior citizens would like to join the recreational email list, please send an email to recreation@belmar.com so you may be included in that email list. The Easter egg hunt is March 16th, 11 a.m. between 4th and 5th Avenue beaches. And people ask me about the Little League that's happening in town now. It's run by Tri-Shore Little League, so it's not run by the borough. It's not a borough recreation activity anymore. So they're not affiliated with Tri-Shore, so if anybody wants to play Little League, they should reach out to or look on their website, www.trisshorell.com for more information about Little League. The ADA committee, we met last week and discussed some of the things that have happened in town regarding painting, handicap, accessibility, and parking spots. And the committee just wants the public to know if there are any issues in town, business locations that don't have proper parking, proper railing, handicap accessibility, etc., that they should just reach out to me to let me be aware so we can look into it further at jkinney@belmar.com. And then a couple things around the schools. Belmar Elementary has their fashion show Thursday night, the 29th. And next weekend, the Drama Club, Belmar Elementary presents, Friday and Saturday presents Wizard of Oz in the auditorium. And St. Rose High School, both the boys won the Shore Conference for the first time ever. So that's kind of a really big deal for the boys basketball at St. Rose High School. They defeated Manasquan at a sold-out crowd at Monmouth University last weekend. And both the boys and girls are continuing to compete in the state tournaments. They both won the first and second rounds. They both won last night. They're on to Thursday night, I believe it's the third round, and that's at St. Rose. Both of the teams are #1 seeds, so they get to host. And then lastly, St. Rose High School, Belmar is hosting their Belmar St. Patrick's Day Parade Watch Party, which is this Sunday, the 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Their tent is right on Main Street, so if anybody wants to join the St. Rose community to watch the parade, they can do so on Main Street. And then lastly, don't forget about our skate park, big fundraiser, March 23rd. Look out for more information about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Rondinero.
Thank you, Mayor. I can't wait for the parade this Sunday. I just wanted to thank all of our borough employees and volunteers in advance for the work that they put forward to make this a safe and successful parade. The parade committee has continued to knock this parade out of the park. We have 4 dedicated and inspiring grand marshals, so congrats to Casey Casterly, Megan Levis, Michelle Casterly, and Ed Nevsky. Belmar and our sister borough Lake Como have much to be proud of, so let's please go out and go into our shops and restaurants and show them the local love. Let's make sure that they have the attention that they need as well to make this successful for Belmar. The mayor, Councilwoman Donovan, and I had the pleasure of being there for the ribbon cutting of a new boutique in town, Tutti Belle. The owner, Felicia, is thrilled to be here. It's a wonderful boutique. They even have plus-size clothing, which I appreciate. I spoke to Felicia today, and she said that she had a really successful week, and she's so happy to be here in Belmar. Belmar Housing Authority. I spoke to Executive Director Paul DeSantis today for an update on the building. They're still awaiting a fire alarm system for the main elevator. Official bids for the facade did go out February 15th. However, there's an opportunity for any contractor interested in the project to take a look around the building this Thursday. And I've been told there's a 1-month bidding period to follow. The next meeting is March 4th, but in addition, there's a special public hearing on the 5-year plan for the BHA on March 15th at 9 a.m. So please feel free to join us. The Belmar Public Library, Saturday, March 2nd at 11 a.m. The next Living History event features actor historian Dr. Daisy Century of the American Historical Theater as Harriet Tubman. On March 5th at 6 p.m. at the lower level of the library, there's a free workshop for LGBTQ caregivers and elders with caregiver coach Kat Verdi, who's been there before, Jamila Smith, project manager and trainer with Garden State Equality. So we welcome you all to come to that. There is still time to enter the brown soda bread contest at the library St. Patrick's Day Parade celebration. The standard white contest is full, but you still have a chance if you've got a good recipe for a brown bread. And that celebration is March 14th at 5 p.m. at Taylor Pavilion. This event's always a blast. They have music and dancing with the Darcy School of Irish Dance. It's going to be fantastic. So please join us, but you do need to register. So even if you're going to bake, you need to register. If you're going to come, you need to register. And lastly, the library is developing a strategic plan for its future. And it's inviting all of the residents of Belmar, Lake Como, and any card holder to put in what your input is of what you would like to see from the library. We welcome as much feedback as possible, so feel free. You'll see an online survey soon, but you can always contact the library, and the person who's our strategic coordinator is Leslie Naughton. So I will make sure that we have her information for you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we can move on to our public session for the consent agenda.
If anyone has a comment or a question about a resolution on the agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. None. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
The motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
The motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rodenaro?
Yes.
Next is public hearing and second reading on ordinance 2024-2. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 19, creating a handicap parking space. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address.
Mr. Kramer?
Eugene Creamer, Fourth Avenue. Let me just get this straight here. Handicap parking limited to specific persons in front of certain residences. And this is at 304 13th Avenue. I did a quick drive-by this property, and there's a definite hardship here. The dwelling property doesn't have any off-street parking at all. So, if somebody has a handicap, which apparently they do, that there's no place other than the street to park. Unfortunately, I don't think this will solve all the problems involved, because when you establish a handicap parking space on a public right-of-way, it's available to anybody that has the handicap placard and the documentation. The proposed parking space in the public right-of-way would have because it's a one-way street, the curb would be on the passenger side. It doesn't mention here anything about potential concrete work or other accommodations, but typically when you have a handicap parking space against the curb, if you're just trying to get out of a regular car, it's a lot more, sometimes a lot more difficult than getting out into a lane of traffic. The other thing that, and this has been going on for quite a few years in town, number one, the town is, last time that I had taken a look at, the town is up to 2010 ADA standards. In 2010, the Americans with Disability Act was changed to a civil rights law. And one thing that they no longer refer to a parking space as being a handicap parking space. It's an accessible parking space. Let's just see here. I want to tell you just a quick story about what happened in my neighborhood. A woman down the street had a handicapped parking space in front of her house, and it took over 10 years to realize that this person was either not living or there was no need for handicap parking space there anymore. In New Jersey, when you get a handicap plate or placard, it's good for a term of 3 years. And I know this because I have to renew mine this coming August. In any case, I think that any of these on-street handicap parking spaces perhaps should be tied to, or at least tied to the person that has requested it. In other words, if the person had just gotten the handicap placard, they should either have to renew it at the end of the 3 years, otherwise the parking space go back to regular parking. Yes, if you get the approval from the state, it's 3 years. If you get one from the Belmar Police Department, I believe it's 6 months. Although I doubt whether somebody with a temporary parking placard would just want to have, access to that space. At provide a term of the handicap parking space to the person that had requested it?
Yeah, I don't know how the state, I mean, I know the state follows up on the handicap placard. I don't know how we would be able to do that unless the state issued some kind of a report or something about
Or we could just
expired.
add it to the ordinance, that it has to be renewed. I know our traffic officers that approve these, that go out and look at the spaces and decide whether it's to be put in or not. We do create an incident on it. I mean, it could be something that we have in our CAD system to where,
Check it
flag it
periodically.
every 3 years or something.
3 years.
like that. But we've been working with DPW, the spot on 8th Avenue that was in question on 600 block. It took a little bit of time, but we're going to be removing that one. That one can be removed. But I'm sure we can come up with some sort of, I mean, they go through the police department in April,
Right.
so that we can come up with something to where we can keep an eye on it and figure out a way to, have them renew it or, notify us when they, if they don't need it.
A question I have is this spot a permit spot? In other words, does the person get an actual permit number so that it determines that only that person can park in that spot?
No.
But there is
None
such
of
a...
them do. None of the residential spots.
I know I've driven around in other towns and I've seen certain spots that actually have a permit and only that person can park in that spot.
We don't have it.
Okay.
It's something we can look into.
Yeah, I think that's what Mr. Creamer was referring to in one of the comments. Anybody can park in this spot,
Right.
but
Yes,
I know...
and actually in Belmar, I would be able to park my truck in that spot and leave it there all summer. It's very difficult for law enforcement to enforce handicap parking. I do about the only town here that I see that actively pursues enforcing handicap parking is Wall Township. All those stores on Route 35 here, including Aldi and Acme and so on. But you see, it's very simple to them. They just can sit there, see somebody parking in a handicapped spot, and it's the old saying, I'm only going to be a minute. And then they run into the store. Apparently not.
I had that happen 6 years ago, and fortunately my father was with me, who had the handicap spot, and I showed it to the officer, and I was like, yep, here we go. And I ran into the store and got what I had to get.
As long as you're carrying a handicapped person, that's fine. And a lot of times, I'll drive to the supermarket, my wife will go in shopping, same sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
In any case, I think this could be very easily.
Yeah, I think we can work out something so we can keep track of the spots and when they need to be expired.
Other towns do as well.
Okay.
For the residential areas.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments on the
I'm
ordinance?
in favor of this.
Excuse me?
I'm in favor of this.
Oh, yeah, I got that from the beginning. Any others? I don't see any other hands.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-2? Motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
All right, now we have the regular public session. So if anyone would like to speak, please remember to state your name and address first.
Hi, my name is Eugene Rondonero. I'm the proud father of Maria, sitting up in front. And she's been taking care of her handicapped dad for the last week. And I'm very grateful to her for doing that. But I'd also like to extend my gratefulness to the mayor, who was nice enough to donate, not donate, but to lend nice chair, recliner chair for me, and a wheelchair, which was terrific. I was driven to the beach and on the boardwalk and the whole thing. My daughter threatened to leave me there at one point. And later she nearly dumped me on Main Street, but other than that, things have been fine. And I just wanted to mention these things because I've come to know this town as a very loving and community-oriented place, and its attraction to me, its diversity, its, how could I say, you can feel love in this town, its musical background, there's a lot of things about it that attract me, and I'm from a small town in upstate New York called Horseheads, and it was the reason for the town's name. Basically, it was because the indigenous people didn't like the fact that the Americans had come up and started a massacre up there, and they left a little memento for the citizens and the people there in Horseheads. It was their ponies and their horses. They cut their heads off and threw them over the post. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that there are some horse heads available in case you run into problems in town. And that's about it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate the fact that it took less than 5 minutes, because I would have hated to have to cut you off.
Yes, thanks, Papa. Our borough certainly has heart, and I'm glad Jersey Shore Medical helped my father fix his heart this week. And thank you, everyone, for all your thoughts and prayers. And yes, thank you, Mayor, and thank you to Marlene, who really came to our rescue with every single item we could possibly need for my father's day.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Claire Hayner, 18th and B. First of all, thank you very much for a detailed update on the 12th Avenue property. Everybody's been waiting for that. And if it is a sponge, like you said, pushing down and that water's going out, like Councilwoman McKinney said, there's a school right across the street. So it's kind of like a root canal, either pull the tooth or fix it. Okay? All the banner flags, I hope you don't spend too much time on it, okay? It's a flag that's up there. There's code enforcement. If the flag gets ripped and torn, tell them to get a new one. Just like people tell you if the flag is ripped, an American flag is ripped, we get a new one. You know, it's code enforcement with something like that, okay? I don't know if I had anything else, but no, just basically I hope everybody remembers to stop by Bar A on March 9th for the Monmouth County Police Unity Tour fundraiser. Okay? Thank you. March 9th.
What time?
4 to 8. It's a Saturday. You don't want to miss it. We were there last year and it was a lot of fun. And it's all electronic. It's all electronic. It's great.
Got it. Chief may be there.
Any other comments?
I'm Amy Leskow, and I live on 16. And my question is on the grant for the boardwalk improvements. How did you assess the need for the permanent bathrooms? And where exactly is the location for the permanent bathrooms going to be located? And could Taylor Pavilion be considered for permanent bathrooms that already exist?
Okay, I'm going to start with the last question. Yes, permanent, we actually just went out to bid for permanent bathrooms in the Taylor Pavilion. So, and those, for those who want to see what the specifications look like, they're up on the website under the miscellaneous documents, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, so that you'll see the architectural drawings there for the bathroom. Again, I preface my remarks, but these were just proposals. You know, it could be years before we see, you know, a permanent bathroom. I think our idea was that if we could put up a structure rather than a trailer that we're moving in and out, it would be to the betterment of all. And just looking at the beach, you know, and the boardwalk, and we have something at 5th Avenue, we have something at 10th Avenue that ultimately at some point perhaps could be house some bathrooms, and you know, the next 5 blocks would be 15th or 16th. That was really the only way we got to that conclusion, was just to kind of evenly space the permanent buildings that were on the boardwalk. And that's really, you know, again, it was I won't say pie in the sky, but it was something that if it could happen, you know, we thought it would be nice to really have a permanent building for bathrooms. So.
Okay, because I'm just thinking, you know, the commercial buildings that exist from 16th to 17th, they all have bathrooms right there. So to put another bathroom structure.
Yeah, but there are a lot of and again, I'm only speaking off the top of my head, a lot of the commercial establishments don't permit people to go in and use the facilities.
Well, they have to allow it if you're buying a Dunkin' Donuts, you go in.
But we have you know, we have traditionally provided bathrooms along the boardwalk, and I don't see us ever ending that.
They come and they go, you know. So if you live there, we don't have to look at a permanent bathroom all the time, I guess is my point. And then I feel that sometimes you're going to end up with the DJs people coming down this way to then use that structure.
It's you know, it's the type of thing where you know, if you get 100 people in the room, you're going to have maybe 50 different opinions as to what should be done. I mean, you know, the alternative are the temporary bathrooms, which in and of themselves have some issues because they're probably not as nice as a permanent bathroom would be, number one. And then the borough, every so many years, has to, you know, have the expense of purchasing new ones because, again, you know, subject to salt air, and we store them, and so, you know, it's a continuing expense. And I think our idea was just to have another facility where, you know, if we wanted to keep it open year-round or most of the year, it would be a lot easier and better equipped than using the temporary bathrooms.
And you have somebody that monitors them during the summer. Is somebody going to monitor them then?
Well, we would have to, yeah. If it was open, it's not going to be left open without being monitored, obviously.
Spring Lake leaves it open and there's no issues, you know, as you walk up and down the board.
Well, they don't have that many bathrooms in Spring Lake, do they? I don't know what.
No, they don't.
What do they have? Like 2? And I don't know the length of their beach, but it's got to be at least a mile, I would think. So.
It's a mile between the pavilions and
Yeah.
there's one all the way down the
Yeah. But then again, they don't allow you to bring food on the beach, so I don't know, you know.
So it's going to be a process. It's not.
It's a process. It's not.
It's a thought. And
it's not something that's going to happen next year, I doubt, highly. But it's you know, it's going to be a process that will. Obviously, if we go that route, you'll hear more and more about it as we get closer.
All right, very good.
Yeah, I think you had a question.
How big would it be?
I have no idea. It's really in the idea stage. That's it. Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor, I just have to clarify though for the public, the bathrooms at Teller Pavilion, that grant money, this current boardwalk
Yeah,
grant money
that has nothing
is
to do
apart
with this.
from, yes,
Yeah,
okay, just making sure that.
Yep, that has nothing to do with this.
Barry Lubin, 15th Avenue. Mr. McGill might be able to clarify, but those stores on Ocean, they're not required to open those bathrooms. I think the only place that is required to have an open bathroom is a sit-down facility, restaurant?
I don't know the law on that.
Okay. From being a store owner for 32 years, my store was private property. My bathroom was private property if I didn't want it open. And I believe it's the same, any of those shops.
Okay. Any other comments? You had your chin, no, come on. Didn't we have in that ordinance, doesn't it say one comment per night?
As long as they don't exceed 5 minutes. You mentioned that the bid is out for the, for bathrooms. Do we have the square footage or whatever for the rental space?
It's very close.
Yeah, we're working on that.
That's step 2.
Okay.
That's step 2.
So by next meeting, maybe we'll have that too?
Probably, yes.
Because summer's coming, that's.
Yeah,
that's the only
oh no,
thing.
we know. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Cleaver.
Eugene Beaver, 4th Avenue. I didn't get a chance, I guess it was the last meeting, the gentleman was here from JCP&L, the electric company, and I guess it was towards the end of January, JCP&L changed my electric meter over to a smart meter, and they did a very good job. I had no interruption whatsoever to power. The clock on my microwave oven didn't get upset, nothing. It did a great job. And I'm looking forward to these smart meters. I know a little bit about them. And quite truthfully, I'm more interested, not in my own house, but over at the senior building. I guess it was about 2 years ago, we had an incident there where the senior building had there was an outage in that section of town, and I guess the senior building tried to start up a generator, and in any case, it turned into a major headache for them. I don't think the town first responders had found out for over 9 hours that they were without power. Well, in any case, I haven't studied the JCP&L tariff, but most of these utilities, and I'm pretty sure they do also, if you have life-sustaining electrical equipment on your property, one benefit of these smart meters is that the first one to find out that the senior building has lost electric will be JCP&L, and they'll have the ability to notify first responders here in Belmar and make sure that we don't have a response time problem like we had in the past. I just wanted to mention that because they did a very good job at my house. Do we know how many people or how many meters have actually been swapped out?
I don't know. I'm not sure we could find out. I'd be curious to find out maybe when.
I'll certainly find out as far as the BHA building, whether we can look into the smart meters, because that would be great.
My understanding is the whole town did, because I got one. I don't think that they literally just hung a little sign on everybody's door saying you're getting a smart meter, and there was no real.
I already got it.
Like, yeah, that was like 6 months or so ago, I believe. I believe everybody's already got one.
Okay, very good. Actually, you may or may not be happy. Eventually, these things will go to time of day metering. In other words, you'll pay a different price for electricity on a hot summer day than you will in the winter time. But the added benefit of it is that you can detect, a smart meter can detect an electrical problem on the customer side of the meter. So I think it would be a good idea. As long as somebody in that building can get, it's like the handicap laws in New Jersey, as long as they can get a medical practitioner to, sign off on the reason that a tenant needs electricity for life-sustaining equipment. It could be anything from a respirator to they got these oxygen machines and all this other stuff nowadays. That should be no problem to get.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.